The world of video games is full of talented creators, but few of them manage to leave an indelible mark. The character we're going to introduce to you today is one of them. If you don't know him yet, you will discover here one of the most mysterious characters of the video games, Mr. Yoko Taro. Behind his creations hides a man whose vision of video game art is quite different from that of his contemporaries. Shy and modest behind his mask, the intrigue around his person only intensifies our love for the stories he creates. It is time to go back to the origins of this extraordinary creator, to understand the foundations of his dark and poetic universe. Located on the Pacific coast and surrounded by mountains, in the center of Japan, in the Chubu region, on the island of Honshu, the city of Nagoya, with its distressing banality, was the birthplace of Yoko Taro in 1970. But for the man who was to become a genius creator one day, this city was a huge playground. From a very young age, he had a passion for video games and spent hours locked in his room imagining stories, worlds, characters. But it is especially by watching movies that he discovered the beauty of the dark. Films such as Blade Runner, Akira, Brazil, or Dark City have marked him forever and have shaped his creative universe. The worlds he imagined were tormented, the characters tortured. Nothing was simple, never all black or all white. The complexity of the nuances always pushed to its paroxysm. Fate, or chance, made Yoko Taro enter the video game industry in 1994 as a video game designer for the Japanese company Cavia. But his goal was not to create games to entertain the masses. He wanted to create worlds, stories, that would remain in the memories of those who would dive into them. Through his games, Yoko Taro has continued to develop his unique style of creation, where dark and emotional scenarios, tormented characters, and unconventional storytelling are combined. A style that fascinates and captivates gamers around the world, and has made Yoko Taro a legendary creator, adored by some, misunderstood by others, but who puts his soul into every bit of creation he makes. Yoko Taro started his career in the video game industry in 1994 working for a company called Nihon Falcom. His first game he worked on as a script designer was Megami Tensei Gaiden, Last Bible 3, released in 1995. After that, he worked on several other games before establishing his own development studio, Cavia, and designing his first original game, Drakengard, which was released in 2003. The creation of Drakengard was one of the most important challenges of Yoko Taro's career. For this game, he wanted to create a dark and desolate world, filled with terrifying creatures and tortured characters. But he quickly realized that this required a lot of work and collaboration. Drakengard is an action RPG video game developed by Cavia and published by Square Enix. It was originally released in Japan on September 11, 2003 for PlayStation 2. It was then released in North America on March 15, 2004, and in Europe on May 21, 2004. The development of Drakengard was fraught with difficulties, from the development of the storyline to the design of the characters and the gameplay. But Yoko Taro was determined to create a game that would stand out from the crowd, and that required hard work and creativity. One of the most notable concerns during the development of Drakengard was the design of certain aspects of the game, including the aerial dragon fights that were a key part of the game experience. The developers encountered difficulties in implementing these battles in a smooth and satisfactory manner, which led to several delays in the game's development. The world of Drakengard is filled with tragedy and conflict, a story of war and destruction that takes place in a captivating and compelling universe. Players take on the role of broken heroes, haunted by their past and their own despair, and must fight terrifying enemies to save their world. Drakengard's story and gameplay have been praised by players and critics alike for their originality and depth. The epic battles and complex characters have captivated players, and the dark and tragic story has touched the hearts of many fans. Drakengard's critical and commercial reception upon release was mixed, but the game still enjoyed significant success with a passionate fan base. For Yoko Taro, Drakengard was an important work, which allowed her to create a dark and complex world filled with deep characters and heartbreaking tragedies. A window into this incredible parallel world had just opened, and gave us a first glimpse of what the genius could come up with. Since its release, Drakengard has become a cult game, with a dedicated fan base that appreciates its unique atmosphere and dark, complex themes. The game has also spawned several sequels, including Drakengard 2 Inches, PS2 in 2005 without Yoko Taro by Canon then, and Drakengard 3 Inches 2013 PS3, as well as a manga adaptation. After the success of Drakengard, Yoko Taro and her team started working on a spiritual sequel that would eventually become Nier. While sharing some similarities with its predecessor, Nier also represented a big step forward for the studio, with many innovations in gameplay, storyline, and character design. Unlike Drakengard, Nier focused on a single main character, a man named Nier, who is searching for a cure for his sick daughter in a post-apocalyptic world. The developers also incorporated a more complex combat system, as well as more advanced role-playing elements, providing a more in-depth and immersive gameplay experience. Despite some criticism for its sometimes shaky gameplay, Nier has been enthusiastically received by fans and trade press alike, praising its complex and moving storyline, as well as its unique and dark universe while still fitting into the Drakengard universe. Although Nier and Drakengard are separate series, there are indeed links between the two universes. Indeed, Nier takes place in the same world as one of the endings of Drakengard, the E ending, where the main characters travel through a dimensional rift and land in a post-apocalyptic world similar to that of Nier. In addition, the themes in both series are similar, with dark stories, complex characters, and reflections on the nature of humanity and violence. Yoko Taro has often mentioned her interest in philosophy and psychology, and this is clearly reflected in her games. In sum, although Nier and Drakengard are two distinct series, they share common elements that make them coherent works in Yoko Taro's artistic and narrative universe. Nier was released on April 22, 2010 in Japan, April 27, 2010 in North America, May 21, 2010 in Europe, and June 17, 2010 in Australia. The game was released on the PlayStation 3 console in Japan, while in the West it was released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. One of the peculiarities of this game is that there are several differences between the Japanese version and the Western version of Nier. First of all, the main character was redesigned for the Western version by the famous character designer Tetsuya Nomura, known for his work on the Final Fantasy game series. Thus, the Western version featured an older main character with gray hair, while the Japanese version featured a younger main character with black hair. Secondly, the Japanese version featured a different combat system, which was more focused on the use of magic, while the Western version placed more emphasis on sword fighting. Finally, the Japanese version had an extra ending that was not present in the Western version, requiring the completion of certain specific actions to be unlocked. These differences led to mixed reviews of the two versions of the game, but also sparked fan interest in the Nier franchise. The Nier remaster, titled Nier Replicant Ver 1.22474487139, was released in April 2021 on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. The game is an updated and improved version of the original Japanese version of Nier, released in 2010 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The remaster features improved graphics, a remastered soundtrack, and reworked cutscenes. It also includes additional content that was not present in the original version, such as new playable characters and side quests. The game has been well received by critics and fans alike, who have praised the improvements made to this remastered version and have been delighted to discover or rediscover the world of Nier. The Nier series saw a significant evolution with its third opus, Nier Automata, released in 2017 on PS4. This time around, Yoko Taro collaborated with the renowned studio Platinum Games to deliver an even more accomplished gameplay experience. Nier Automata plunges us into a post-apocalyptic futuristic world where humans had to flee the Earth after an alien invasion. They have taken refuge on the Moon, while androids have been created to fight against the machines that have invaded the planet. The player plays as 2B, a combat android, accompanied by 9S, a support android. The gameplay of Nier Automata is particularly rich and varied, alternating between third-person combat and horizontal scrolling shoot-'em-up phases. The game is also sprinkled with numerous side quests, some of which are particularly moving and memorable. The release of Nier Automata was acclaimed by critics and the public alike, the game being recognized for its complex and poignant narrative, as well as for its exceptional soundtrack composed by Keiichi Okabe. The game has sold over 5 million copies worldwide. Nier Automata quickly became a cult title, making Yoko Taro one of the most respected video game creators in the industry. Her unique artistic vision and ability to tell deeply moving stories have made the Nier series stand out and leave a lasting impression on gamers. After the release of Nier Automata, Yoko Taro continued to work in the video game industry. In 2018, he created and directed the mobile game Sino Alice, developed by Pocket Laboratory and published by Square Enix. The game is set in a dark fairy tale world, where players play as different fairy tale characters and must cooperate to achieve their goals. In 2020, Yoko Taro collaborated with Japanese developer 2Kyo Games to create Death Come True, a cinematic adventure game. The game follows a serial killer who wakes up in a hotel and must uncover the truth about his identity and motivations. In addition to his career as a game designer, Yoko Taro is also known for his collaborations with other artists and creators, including Japanese singer Air Aoi and novelist Nisio Isin. He is also a regular contributor to the cosplay community, often participating in cosplay events as a contest judge and making special appearances. What stands out about all of these creations is that they are marked by recurring themes, such as death, violence, suffering, and madness. But what makes his work unique is his unconventional way of telling stories. He is not afraid to tackle sensitive subjects and deal with complex anti-hero characters. His narrative is often fragmented, non-linear, and challenges the conventions of traditional storytelling. In addition to this, unusual character design choices are also a distinctive feature of his work. Masked characters, androids, strange creatures, and often psychologically broken protagonists are common elements in her games. Yoko Taro's approach to storytelling and character design is an essential part of the gaming experience and gives players stories and characters that stand out from the conventions of conventional video games. Her unique approach is what makes her work so memorable and appreciated by fans. Yoko Taro's eccentric personality does not go unnoticed in the video game industry. Apart from his designs, he is also known for his unusual public appearances, often wearing a mask and sunglasses. He has also been seen dressed in cosplay outfits, sporting colorful wigs and unusual accessories. Despite this unusual appearance, Yoko Taro is highly respected in the industry for his storytelling skills and his ability to tell moving stories. Interviews with Yoko Taro are often highly anticipated, as he is known for his candid and often provocative answers. His personality and atypical opinions have also had an impact on the industry, inspiring other designers to step out of their comfort zones and dare to make bolder design choices. But behind the eccentric public persona, Yoko Taro is first and foremost a passionate creator who works tirelessly to realize his unique vision of video games. And his dedication and passion for his work is reflected in the games he creates, which continue to captivate gamers around the world. Yoko Taro's journey has taken us through the eras and boundaries of the video game industry. From his humble beginnings to the creation of Drakengard, through the evolution of Nier, to his modern masterpiece, Nier Automata, we have discovered a unique artist. Yoko Taro has consistently challenged the conventions of the video game industry, creating dark and complex stories, atypical characters, and deep philosophical themes. His unconventional storytelling, coupled with his eccentric personality, has helped make him a fascinating and respected figure in the industry. Yoko Taro's impact on the video game industry cannot be denied. His creations have inspired fans around the world and demonstrated the importance of storytelling in video games. I hope you enjoyed this format. Feel free to leave a comment. If there is a particular topic you would like me to cover, please let me know. This was Pod 712. See you soon.